Hi there, and welcome to this next lesson. In this lesson, we're going to be looking for references and information on our project. To start with, I want to go more in depth in the studios I was talking about in the last lesson. In Relax el Coco, for example, this is their virtual portfolio. As you can see, all their work is presented within the actual page, and they're all related to infographics, graphic designs, or brandings. They've done work for companies like Vueling, for example, and they've also participated on front pages in famous magazines. As you can see, they have quite a flat style in this case, and the infographics transmit what the company has wanted to present with their guidelines. In this case, they're showing a map, and as you can see, the illustrations are mostly made in a pictorial way. That doesn't mean you can't do this with programs like, for example, Photoshop. But it would be interesting to be able to scale the infographics without losing any of the resolution. So in this case, we're going to be working with both tools, with Photoshop and Illustrator. This is the Pictoline page. As you can see, the images are accompanied with a brief text. And they give information more in a graphic way than they do in an informative way. However, you can understand all of this perfectly thanks to the way they have to work on these things. I've decided that the project I'm going to work on is going to be on Earth Day and on the environment in general. It's a theme that gives quite a lot of facts, information to talk about, and yeah, it's something we can work on perfectly and with reason. You can find a lot of these things on the internet. Apart from that, it's quite inspirational. And why not make an infographic on the Earth? At the end of the day, the more the people know, the better we can look after our planet. Because we're not doing a good job as is. Right now, I'm looking for the tone with which I want to work, the color palette I can use. As you can see, most of them have that blue and green color. What we have left to look at is the structure and the different compositions that we can find depending on the style of the infographic that we want to work on. Some of them are really original and different. If you're not very used to this, you can use the internet as reference. Try and go from there to create your own. For the information you need to put in your design, you please, you have to make sure that this information is true. No false news. In my case, I want to add in things that are interesting on the environment. For this, I'm going to gather information from the pages I've been looking at to later add to my infographic in an aesthetic and a comprehensive way when putting it on my artboard. I'm going to choose the ones that are more interesting to me, and then those are going to be the ones I use in my design. For inspiring topics, what we could normally recommend on TwoPad normally is Pinterest. It's a platform where there are lots of images and can be of help when, for example, you have some kind of art block. You just have to create your board and pick up all the photos, illustration designs that maybe you can use as references. They're all included on that board, and in that way, if you have any kind of concrete image you want to take an inspiration from, and well, you have it there, and you'll get you'll have it there, and you'll get similar images. It's going to adapt to your tastes. It all depends on what you're looking for. For example, as you can see with the infographics, there are a lot, and there are many more. I also want to focus the infographic I'm going to make on the topics of activists that have been more relevant, but I can't put them all in. It would be too saturated, as much as I might want to do that. So what I'm going to do is take 3 of them and represent them. For example, Chico Mendes, Wangari, and Gaylord Nelson are the ones that seem to be more relevant. Even though these people have put in a lot of effort, I just wanted to use these 3 because of their interesting stories. Gaylord, for example, was the person who actually started Earth Day. Wangari was a huge help planting trees. She planted over 30,000 trees. And apart from that, she was the first black woman to receive a Nobel Prize. It's pretty cool, guys. And after that, we have Chico Mendes that worked to protect the Brazilian jungle when they wanted to cut all the trees down to gain farm space. The last thing we have to look for now is look for an amplification in our color palette. And the next thing we're going to do is work on the composition and the synthesis. I'll see you guys in the next lesson. So, bye. Goodbye. Bye.